Alrighty, welcome back to the Nice Guy Recovery Introductory course, day 3. We're going to talk about what type of nice guy you are. Now, I've already prepared a large piece of content on this, so hopefully you've done the PDF, little exercise from yesterday, and you've got some ideas about which type you might be, or types you might be. So just to describe them in brief, we've got the performer, okay? So the performer is the type of nice guy that I primarily was for most of my life. He likes being center of attention, he's extroverted usually, and he gets approval actively. He goes and makes you like him. He's a helpful guy, he's a funny, entertaining guy, he's an interesting guy. He's the guy who's the life of the party, and he's constantly lapping up as much approval as possible. Then we've got the controller, the sort of extroverted manipulator, the pickup artist type of guy. So this is a guy who's very carefully watching what type of person you are and changing and adapting to you so that he'll be something that you like. He's like a chameleon. From one person to another, he carefully adjusts who he is to be as likable as possible. So when he's around your grandparents, he's proper and got a dry wit. And then when he's with his friends, he's the piss drinking lad. And then when he's with girls, he's the sharing, thoughtful guy. He adapts to each person to manipulate them into liking him. And those are the two sort of extroverted types. They actively seek approval. And then we've got the two more introverted types. First, we've got the observer, this kind of shy wallflower, who just flies under the radar, sticking to the side of little groups here and there, trying to go unnoticed so that he doesn't get disapproved of, desperately wanting approval, but not willing to take any risks about losing it. Quite often with the extroverted types, they're simply just a bit more socially skilled, so they apply those skills to get approval. The introverted types feel unskilled, so they prefer not to take the risk. So the observer just sits around watching, finds it very hard to participate, gets interrupted often, and just kind of flies in the background. And then the last type is the critic, which is kind of all of us. This is a person who's really stuck inside his own head. It's very impossible for him to connect with others or have high self-confidence because he is spending most of the day arguing with himself inside his own mind, second-guessing everything, regretting, worrying about the future, questioning himself, dismissing his successes, blowing up his failures, just really getting stuck inside his head, self-defeating thinking, overthinking a lot. So we're often a mix of these. Or we go through stages of being one and then the other and then the other. Or we're really strongly one type with bits and pieces of another. I made these types up. This isn't like some scientific model. It's just to give you something to narrow your search and allow you to focus on what you need to do for your type. Okay. Now I've included a podcast where you can go, you choose the type, you can either listen to the whole thing. It's pretty long, it's like an hour. Or you can just find your type, skip ahead to it and listen to it in more detail, and that's the action for today. So if you're the performer and you want to just skip ahead to that, that's at 4 minutes 30. If you're the controller, that's at about 14 minutes. If you're the observer, that's at about 29 minutes, and if you're the critic, that's at about 39 minutes. So you can skip ahead or you can listen to the whole thing. I personally recommend listening to the whole thing, partly because I have a big ego and I'm the one who made this, but also because this will allow you to understand other nice guys as well and find some common ground with them, particularly if you're part of the Brojo community. So have a listen to that, figure out your type, learn a bit more about it, and I'll see you tomorrow where we'll cover the general nice guy recovery principles. Cool.